Hello, we are most of the way through the first semester, and I have to say, so far things have gone exceptionally well. Thank you to everyone who've made everything such a success up to this point. I do have the November board report for all of you. First of all, under consent agenda, we do have bills totaling $11,560,679.34. We did have a number of things under consent agenda, including the bills. We also had the approval to let bids for a drinking water assessment. This is part of Senate Bill 681. All school districts are required to do this, and luckily there was an appropriation for a grant that will help pay for this drinking water assessment. Also, under consent agenda, we did have the approval to let bids for the district's beverage and snack vending. We currently do our own beverage and snack vending here in the ISD. It is run through our nutrition services department. We do want to get bids to see if maybe we can do this more economically, as well as take some of the burden off our nutrition services department. If the bids do come back favorable, we will look at potentially outsourcing this. Item number 6 under the consent agenda is the approval to let bids for fine arts and cafeteria renovations and HVAC replacement at Nowlin Middle School, science room renovations at Nowlin and Bridger Middle Schools, and then also industrial arts renovations at Truman High School. I have to say I'm very excited about all of these projects. This is the last phase of the bond project initiative that was passed several years ago. These are going to be great renovations for our kids here in the ISD. And then lastly, under consent agenda, item number 7 is the approval to let bids for chillers at Chrisman High School and Truman High School. This is part of our capital projects updates. This is part of the bond project. These will be paid for out of ESSER funds. Under superintendent's report, I had a number of statistics that I did give out to the Board of Education as well as those in attendance. These are great stats that we have of the first 9 weeks this school year compared to the first 9 weeks last school year. First of all, under attendance, our attendance last year through the first 9 weeks was 92.02%. It did go up 1.22% to 93.24%. That is great news, and I do want to thank the administration at the buildings as well as all of the teachers and certainly parents for getting your kids to school. That may seem like a little amount, 1.22%, but that's actually a significant increase whenever you think that we were already at 92% and you only have 8% to go. So again, thank you very much for getting your child to school. Also, we have what we call MSIP attendance, and that's calculated differently than just regular aggregate attendance. This is how we are judged with MSIP 6 for attendance for our students at school. Our MSIP attendance through the first 9 weeks compared to last year is up 3.62%. Again, that's great news as well. Teacher absences are down 12.55% compared to last year, and this is something that I do track every week, and even from the end of the first 9 weeks until as this past Monday, we are actually down on teacher absences 17.62%, so that's great news as well. Discipline events within the school district are down 17%. Including in this is the number of long-term suspensions within our schools are less than a third of what they were last year. I did talk to the Board of Education about the college offerings that we have on Mondays, and this is something that we've been really excited about. So this semester, we currently partner with Metropolitan Community College and offer 4 separate classes on Mondays, and those are microeconomics, U.S. history since 1865, intro to fiction, and fundamentals of speech. Now, as I've said in the past, all of those slots filled up, so we approached Metropolitan Community College to see if we could add additional classes, and they very graciously agreed to do this. So not only are we offering the 4 classes we have this semester, next semester, but we're going to add 3 additional. And those are Biology 132, which is Human Nutrition, Philosophy 103, which is Intro to Critical Thinking, and then Theater 120, which is Acting 1. So again, these are great opportunities that our high school kids are taking advantage of on Mondays, and I've been told that almost all of those slots are already filled for next semester as well. Under new business, item number 1 was a presentation on the ISD academies. This was done by Dr. Maglinger, Aaron Smith, and Lori Cadwell, and this was to give the Board of Education an update on the academies. As many of you know, this is really the flagship program we have for our high schools, and it is known nationwide, and we're very proud of the opportunities that we provide for our kids for both college and career readiness. Item number 2 under new business was the approval of the Board of Education election guidelines and procedures for the April 2nd, 2024 Board of Election. And really there's no changes from the past other than the dates. But just as a reminder for what you have to be able to run for a Board of Education seat, you have to be a citizen of the United States, you must register to vote, you have to reside in Missouri for at least 1 year preceding the election, and you must be of 24 years of age or older. Item number 3 was a presentation on the instructional calendars for the 24-25 school year. Now that this has been approved by the Board of Education, we will start to develop the other calendars for all of our employee groups. But rather than go through the calendar in detail, we are going to send that information out to you as well as place it on the district's website. So please be looking for that information. And then lastly, item number 4 was the approval of the Board of Education manual. This is something that's new to the ISD. Previously, we had used a policy service called MCE, and we recently changed over to EGS as our policy service. So with that, one of the things that they do offer is to create an education manual. About a month ago, we did have a special session of the Board of Education, a work session, in which they went through and talked about the different aspects of the board manual. So this was ultimately approved. At the conclusion of the regular Board of Education session, they did adjourn to enter into a special hearing session to address a grievance that was filed by INEA in relation to the collective bargaining agreement, also known as a CBA. INEA filed a grievance against the independent school district related to the collective bargaining agreement, saying that it had been violated, and I'm going to read a section of the CBA in which they stated was violated. This part says that only the association shall be permitted to have an informational table throughout the duration of New Teacher Academy, provided that such presence does not interfere with the conduct of regular business of the orientation as determined by the superintendent and/or his designee. Whenever a grievance is filed against the collective bargaining agreement, there are a number of steps or processes that have to be followed up until the time it hits the Board of Education. The first step in this is an informal meeting or an informal resolution to the grievance that's been filed. This did come to me by way of a meeting with INEA in which I informally did deny their grievance. After that, it does go to a formal process in which it does once again come to the superintendent or a designee, in this case it was me, stating what the grievance is, and they want an official position from the school district. So again, this did occur, and I believe that there was not a violation of the collective bargaining agreement. And then ultimately, at this point, if the party does wish to take it to the Board of Education, they do have that right. And this is what occurred at the conclusion of the regular board meeting. So within this process, each party has some certain rights. And when I say party, MSTA, because as part of the grievance, INEA wishes to not allow them to be part of New Teacher Academy with the informational table. So that does make them a party, as well as the school district and certainly INEA in this process. So all 3 parties had the opportunity to address the Board of Education. The first party was INEA, and they were given 10 minutes. Followed by MSTA, who was also given 10 minutes, and then the administration was given 10 minutes as well. So throughout this, information was provided. The Board of Education did deliberate on whether INEA has a claim to say that MSTA can no longer have an informational table at New Teacher Academy. And a few things that were discussed. Ultimately, it was decided by the Board of Education that there was not a violation of the collective bargaining agreement, and there are a few things that came out within this decision. First of all, the term throughout the duration of New Teacher Academy, and it was correct to say that only INEA had a table throughout the entire duration of New Teacher Academy. MSTA had approximately 4 hours on one day of the New Teacher Academy. This does not restrict or prohibit MSTA from having an informational table at some point during New Teacher Academy. And a key point to all of this is precedent has been set that MSTA during the entire length of the collective bargaining agreement, as well as the entire length of my time as superintendent, they have always had the opportunity to have an informational table. So this past year was really no different than what has occurred in the past. Also, there was a potential remedy to all of this, and that is that INEA, through the bargaining process, does have the ability to bring this up as an opener within negotiations if they wish to limit MSTA's ability to have an informational table. So at the conclusion of the hearing, the Board of Education, again, they ruled that there was not a violation of the collective bargaining agreement. The administration's stance in this matter is that new teachers to the district should have the opportunity to join whichever association they wish, or none at all. If that association is INEA or if it's MSTA, that should certainly be at the discretion of the new teachers or any teacher within the school district. It is apparent that this was about suppressing information available from MSTA as a way of ensuring that teachers who are new to the district can't join MSTA and can only receive information from INEA. And so because of that, the Board of Education upheld the administration's decision, in this case mine as superintendent, that this was not a violation of the collective bargaining agreement. So with that, that is the conclusion of the November Board of Education report. Again, thank you so much to everyone for all of your work through this first semester. We've had a great start to the school year, and that is because of so many things that people have been willing to do to help our students. Certainly as we've transitioned to the 4-day school week, it's gone better even than we expected. So again, thank you everyone for all that you do for our kids, and have a great Thanksgiving.